And welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. And we're not at the Roundtable desk today, but to my right, we have Tristan Harlan and Mr. Sullivan. And today we're going to talk a little about some wrestling.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I'll make a sound effect for you.
It's Wrestlemania this
WrestleMania week.
It's Wrestlemania
Let's go.
week.
Some may call it the greatest week in sports history.
So we had March Madness, we had the Masters, and this weekend we have
It's like the best time of year for sports. Baseball's just starting up. You got NBA playoffs going. Stanley Cup playoffs will be starting up. But most importantly, WrestleMania. You're welcome.
That was a great segue into the WrestleMania segment, especially after you just got done at the dentist.
If I slur my S's or anything, I apologize. I'm like Cody Rhodes after he tore his rotator cuff and then still did the Heck in a Cell match after he tore his rotator. I still do it for the brand.
Can we not say Hell in a Cell?
Okay, Hell in a Cell.
All right, there we go.
I keep it for the kids.
Okay.
For the kids.
Keep it PG.
Let's do this.
We have a bunch of matchups we need to go to first. So we're going to go to the first matchup that's on our graphic list, and that's the Ring General, Gunther versus Jey Uso. Yeet. What do we think about this matchup?
Go ahead, Tristan.
Yeet.
Yeah. WrestleMania is going to turn into Yeetlemania.
Yeah.
At that point. Still going to be an absolute banger of a match between those two. The entrance for Jay is what's going to be epic. Him coming through a crowd at WrestleMania. I'll be curious if they let him come through the crowd, or if they have the way of doing that because they're in a stadium now, or if they're going to have him come down the ramp.
Well, it's going to probably be similar to how Roman had his entrance at WrestleMania 31 when he faced Brock Lesnar for the belt, which later turned into the heist of the century.
Or do they bring a bunch of people out onto the stage if he comes through the stage?
Well, I've heard a lot of things, and, I've not heard a lot of things. I've read a lot of things. But, there's a lot of similarities to leading up to this Mania that kind of hints at maybe Jey Uso joining The Rock and John Cena.
Man.
Since, he was at number 20
You
in the
can't
Rumble.
see my foot, but you can. He'll turn.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's a lot of possibilities, but for this match, I think we see a new heavyweight champion in Jey Uso.
No doubt about it. Jey Uso beats Gunther in an absolute banger of a match between those two.
Okay.
No interference. Doesn't need his brother there, but his brother probably will show up just because that's how they ride it. But I still think he gets the clean pin, 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to go with Jey Uso.
Yeet.
The reason behind mine is it's not going to be in-depth as Tristan and Mr. Sullivan, but, after hearing them talk, I like the Yeet. I've seen his walkout entrance. I've seen him up with the crowd before. I like the energy he brings. So, for me, I'm going to go
But it's
with
been a
Jey
different
Uso.
energy the last couple of weeks after Gunther absolutely destroyed his brother Jimmy while Jey was, basically handcuffed to the ropes. And he made Jimmy bleed, and it really changed the attitude, Jey. Jey didn't do much of the motions, his entrances the last couple of times. We've seen a very serious Jey, which may take you to that turn that he's looking at. While he still has it for the crowd, that's where I think you'll see a different side of him maybe come out if he were to join forces with The Rock and Cena.
Well, and I definitely think we are now seeing right-hand Jey Uso instead of the guy who comes out, does the yeets and does everything like that. I think we're finally seeing the 2020 version of Jey Uso where he was the right-hand man to the tribal chief. He was, he was the only one that could push Roman Reigns at that point in time to the limits for the belt inside Hell in a Cell in 2020. So I definitely think that we are going to see a lot of character development because, this match, while yes, it technically should be a main event because Jey Uso won the Rumble. This is a match that a lot of fans and a lot of the IWC, which is the Internet Wrestling Community, for those that don't know, they don't like this match. They don't like that Gunther is facing Uso for I think a third time.
Yeah.
And they did not like Jimmy. They didn't like Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble, but that goes back to the unpredictability of the world of wrestling, and nowadays with social media and the dirt sheets and everything, and how open the business is nowadays. I think that this kind of turns a landscape into WWE becoming more unpredictable, and I frankly love it.
Do we see this match maybe leading off Saturday?
I could see it. I don't think so, but I could see it.
They want to start off with a bang.
Yeah, no, for sure.
After all the fireworks and the pyro they'll do after the Open and everything they'll run, first thing you hear is Uso.
Uso!
Yeah, if you hear that crowd's going to go nuts.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you've got to have in a WrestleMania as long as these are each night, you got to have something that starts off. You got to have something really great middle to keep attention, and of course you'll have your main event
Right.
at the end. All right.
And so that leads us to our next matchup we have with our graphics is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
Woo!
All I got to say,
It's Tiffy time.
it's Tiffy time, baby. It is Tiffy time.
I say that though. Everything I've seen though, it's this circle of life that Charlotte has. She gets hurt, she comes back, gets a push, and then, and then she gets a championship, gets hurt, gets a push, championship, hurt, push, championship.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, this is kind of the new era in WWE. I mean, I'm just going to be frank. I don't like Charlotte Flair. I'm not a fan of Charlotte Flair. I would never have been, even when she was in NXT.
Yeah.
They use the term Nepo baby, and I don't know. I definitely feel as if this is the time that Tiffany Stratton needs to be pushed to the moon, and we see a new era of female talent kind of taking over the era of WWE. Because the Alexa Blisses of the world, the Baileys. While Bailey is still prevalent in the match card, she's still not what she was 3-4 years ago. And as big of a match as this is, and how the storyline is drawn out to this point, I definitely think it needs to be Tiffy time in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and you've got to see a healthy mixture in both WrestleMania nights. You've got to see some title losses and some titles retained. And I think they would be smart at this point to let this be a title retention and let Tiffany Stratton keep the belt.
Right. No, I agree 100%. And, I just think it's going to be the dawn of a new era. And I think that Tiffany Stratton will come out of the match the victor.
I agree.
Kate got you. Kate got you. Kate got you.
Double duty right there. Bravo.
I was trying to make sure everything was working in the control room.
The wonders of television. Nobody cares.
Yeah, we had a couple problems with graphics.
Nothing
It was
wrong
going
with
to input 5, so we got it figured out.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Only 4 people are going to watch the show anyway. It's fine.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Add the whole Sullivan fam. So
Add the Melder family.
yeah. So that's counting me.
Respect
That's
on it.
5.
Put respect on a name.
So we're done with y'all. Got out the. Sorry, I missed that
I just realized
conversation.
it's Oliver's first WrestleMania.
It is.
Oh. And
Nice.
if people who don't know Oliver, can you tell us who that
Oliver
is?
Sullivan, our 10-month-old baby boy,
Okay.
doing well. He will probably be sitting in a little extra saucer thing he has that he plays in. He'll literally just be right in front of the TV watching WrestleMania. But the big one is the older sister, Kylie, who's a huge wrestling fan. She's excited for the weekend.
Oh, it's going to be a big day.
If you recall, I think I probably both sent y'all these last year. Our Ring cameras caught our reactions to the main event last year on WrestleMania Sunday, when Undertaker came out and we went nuts, and she and I were just yelling and screaming in the living room, praying we weren't going to wake up the rest of the family who were all still asleep. But that's how much it means to her. She loves going to the shows and everything. She's got her own belt and everything. And the slap bands are a big deal now. If you seen those at Walmart, it's a mystery WWE belt slap band. You don't know which one you're getting, so we bought a few. And she's gotten a couple of the NXT North American title and the WWE Tag Team Championship.
Nice.
Slap bands. So we'll be rocking those WrestleMania weekend.
All right. Glad to hear that.
Tiffy
Bringing
time.
the fam out for the event. And we're going to go over to our next matchup. It's going to be AJ Styles versus the problem child, Logan Paul. How do we feel about this?
I'll put it to you this way. And, we can put the graphic back up, and you'll definitely see the kind of aura of this match. But there's only one answer to win this match, and it's the phenomenal one, the champ that runs the camp, the face of SmackDown Live, Mr. TNA, AJ Styles.
I'll go with AJ.
Sorry for your speakers.
AJ is getting up there in age. We're looking at the last few manias for him. I think this will be a feel-good moment, having AJ retain over the problem child, Logan Paul, which nobody likes.
Right.
And so that kind of brings up a question I might have
You might have.
that I have actually that I've just
What?
been thinking
What?
about. What? Could y'all see Logan Paul winning this match? Y'all said
Yeah.
he's a hated person. Do
Yeah.
you think y'all could see Logan Paul winning this match?
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Bring on a storyline for him,
Well,
or
not even that, but just the popularity of who he is outside of wrestling. They want to bring in more fans from, his field of expertise, his area within the vlogging society, then yeah, they'll let him win easily.
Yeah, and I will say this, there's been a lot of celebrities that have come and gone in the world of wrestling, especially in the WWE, where Mike Tyson was at WrestleMania 14 as the special enforcer / referee. Yeah,
I could do that really well right now.
for Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold. But I definitely think the problem child Logan Paul has definitely been the most talented and the most entertaining celebrity to become I guess now technically he's a WWE superstar because he signed a contract, but you look at celebrities and their involvement with the world of wrestling, whether that be WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro, TNA, and any promotion over the years. But I definitely think there's a reason why Logan Paul was U.S. champion for a very good minute.
Yeah.
And it's because he is talented and he's had one of the best spots in the Royal Rumble in history when him and Ricochet had a cross-body collision in midair.
So great.
all right, glad to hear that. Me personally, while I could see Logan Paul winning, I'm gonna go with AJ Styles.
Ba-ba-ba-boom.
I've heard more about him, so that's kind of
Styles Clash for the win.
Yeah.
Speaking of AJ Styles, you know who he almost reminds me of? He reminds me of Peyton Burr if he'd grow his hair out. I mean, can
We love
you
you,
see it?
Pepe.
Peyton Burr with the
Yeah.
soccer mom haircut.
Yeah.
He looked just like
Now
AJ.
he has to watch because we mentioned him, so there's another viewer.
There we go. And so, correct me if I'm wrong. The next match, it's called a triple threat.
Yes.
Yep.
Triple threat. We have Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk.
This is the match of the night. This is going to be it. I'll put it to you this
The
way.
best match of all Mania.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is probably going to be one of the best matches in Mania history because you've got the Architect, the Visionary, the Beast Slayer, the King Slayer. You've got a man of many nicknames, CM Punk. Wow, I'm a dummy. Seth Rollins taking on the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns taking on the Second City Saint, the voice of the voiceless CM Punk, who is back in WWE after a year and a half being gone in AEW, 10 years being away from WWE, not on the card of WrestleMania 40 due to a torn tricep, but this
had an impact though that has carried on.
Yeah, no,
This
seriously.
year's Mania.
I cannot stress this enough. There is so many different avenues that you can go on with this match. I mean, for one, and I brought this up in our group chat with you, myself, Mr. Sullivan, Easton John, and Peyton Burr, our travel crew. Shout out the Norman trip. But you. But I just think that if we see Paul Heyman turn on both CM Punk and Roman Reigns and align himself with Seth Rollins, then we could see a new faction between The Rock, John Cena, Seth Rollins, and possibly Jey Uso because, The Rock, the final boss, he always has a plan and he's always 20 steps ahead. And I don't know, man. There's
He's
just
at
been
two.
Are
Yeah.
you saying you can smell what he's cooking?
He has gone through plan number 2. If you recall the 2 that he held up to tell John Cena to turn on
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, there's a third.
There's just been too many things that have aligned with The Rock's past and what Seth Rollins has done recently, mentioning Best for Business, wearing attire that has matched The Rock's attire.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, I don't want to take too many steps ahead and get off the beaten path, but there's a lot of similarities that you cannot overlook where anything is possible in the WWE.
Yeah, and I think they'll use this match at that point to set up night 2.
Oh, yeah.
If The Rock comes out in this main, I think if The Rock could come out WrestleMania Saturday, I think he comes out both nights, honestly, as a presence, as the head of a new faction that they'll put together. I think he will have an impact. I think Heyman and Rock have been in cahoots for a while now. I think Heyman will somehow screw over both Punk and Reigns, align with Rollins. Rollins gets the win thanks to the help. and then it leads to the faction of those individuals. That's where I'm not sure if Jay's involved or not, if they want to keep Jay on the babyface side of it for now. You could see that. But I think you're going to see at the end of the night The Rock holding up Seth Rollins' hand in victory.
Well, I was just going to say, like, you know, even if they don't go that avenue, there's an avenue of Paul Heyman aligning with CM Punk for the long term, and kind of similar to what happened in 2014 at the TLC pay-per-view where Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins faced CM Punk in a handicap match. Yeah. Roman Reigns spears Seth Rollins. CM Punk throws Roman Reigns out of the ring, gets the 1-2-3, and then on night 2, Punk's inserted into the WWE Championship match between Cody and John Cena, because that's the ultimate favor that Punk has with Heyman. Because remember, he has 2 favors. He has 2 favors to cash in, and it's throwing me off because I'm used to looking at this camera, but my camera's over here.
Red light.
Yeah, look for the tally light. Dummy. Yeah. But I you know, you definitely could see that, or they could just not do anything spectacular and somebody gets the win and they move on with their lives and they get into a new storyline.
I still don't think I don't see that happening. This has to lead to night 2, because that's the whole purpose of them splitting into 2 nights.
Right.
Is to build momentum from night 1 to night 2 to tell a story.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what they're building with this. And like I said, I still think The Rock plays a major role in this WrestleMania. We just don't know what it is yet.
The final boss always has a plan.
Yeah. And honestly, where does that put Triple H?
Okay, now you're getting my gears turning here. I
Cooking.
don't know if he has anything, and this could just pay off in 6 to 7 months, long after Cooper and I are gone. Hey, this can even be a year thing where next year WrestleMania rolls around. If Kate and whoever does the show with him wants to talk about WrestleMania, they can, and they
They're gonna have to
maybe talking about
Zoom
it.
you guys in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you never know. This ultimately could lead to a big Survivor Series match. Who knows? Team Triple H versus Team Rock? I would like it.
Gosh.
Team TKO versus Team WWE? I don't know, but I would like it.
Wow. That's a solid one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just never know.
Hire me as creative at Triple
out.
H.
You got to watch to find
My
out.
phone's still on ringer. Whoops.
But I think you will have that Triple H involvement, because Triple H is also being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been inducted as a member of DX, but now as a solo competitor, he is finally being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he doesn't want The Rock stealing that moment from him. That's where he somehow gets involved.
There's a lot of time.
2 guys, one that sits on the board. I don't think Triple H sits on the board at TKO.
I don't think he does
The Rock
either.
does. And then Triple H is basically just the head of WWE now at this point, the head of creative and everything. So Triple H defiling the ultimate boss, the final boss.
We're cooking something here.
Oh, man.
We're cooking something
Hire
here.
us, WWE. We're great writers.
We're going to go into one more matchup before we go to a break. So the last matchup we're going to look at in this segment, correct me if I'm wrong on the name pronunciation, Jade Cargill?
Yep, that's right.
Jade Cargill versus Naomi. How are we feeling about this matchup?
I'm going to be
I like
honest.
the colors. I like the green. I like the red, pink.
I'm going to be honest here. This is not a match I'm excited to see. They've had a great build for
It's
it.
been a very weird build.
It's been a very weird build. I don't know if Naomi should have been in this situation here. I think maybe it should have led to a Bianca heel turn. Yeah. But again, Bianca's kind of like John Cena in the 2010s, the ultimate babyface that they're not going to turn heel.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to say Jade Cargill gets a dominant victory here.
Yeah, I think Jade will just come in and absolutely destroy Naomi at this point. I mean, it's going to be a very short match. This may be what many people would call at the stadium the bathroom break match, unfortunately, because I just think it's going to get stuck in the middle of the card. It's going to not carry any momentum. I think there'll be some cool moments, but there's no storyline after this.
Yeah.
At this point.
And it's not a rib on any of the performers in this match because they're both very talented.
I agree.
But I mean, here's the big point. Here's the big question: is where do you stick these two after? If Naomi gets beaten clean, where does she go? Does she go to the Women's United States title picture or the Women's IC title picture? If Jade wins, and let's say Bianca gets the win in the triple threat match, do you then set up a Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair match at SummerSlam for the belt?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the match is going to look like, but I do expect Jay Cargill to get a dominant, clean victory.
I agree.
All right. That's all we have for this first segment. We're going to reset, take a break, and when you come back, we're going to finish off the matchups we have for WrestleMania. Stick around. You're watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside Football and more, ASU TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU TV, and now we're going to go back into some more wrestling.
For what, Tristan?
WrestleMania.
There you go.
Good job.
So the matchup we have next is Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight.
We're going to see some poker chips and some blackjack tables around.
Thrown through a blackjack table.
That would be sweet.
Are you feeling lucky, Punk? That's what I'm asking.
Hit.
Hit me.
Here's the thing. I don't know who I want to win this match because, I mean, Drew's got the crowd behind him. So does Damian Priest. I don't know. I was a fan of Damian Priest's title run, and, you know, last year Damian Priest cashes in his Money in the Bank on Drew McIntyre. This is kind of a match year in the making. I don't know. I'm going to go with Damian Priest on this one.
I'm actually going to disagree with you. I'm going to go Drew. Gets the crowd going.
Okay.
Is this a Sunday or a Saturday match? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Could y'all explain what a Sin City street fight is?
It's basically going to be no holds barred, anything goes, no disqualifications,
No count outs.
no count outs,
First one to
pinfall or submission. But I think you'll see some of the gimmick of the Vegas style of things. Like I said, you know, poker tables,
What?
blackjack tables,
What?
craps tables,
What?
slot machines.
What?
Can I get a heck yeah?
Heck yeah.
I almost went overboard and actually just finished the whole thing.
All right.
So we're split on that one.
Yeah, and, you know, and I can see it go either way, but I think, and they may give Drew his moment, but I think
Drew's probably still due for carrying the company during the pandemic.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I think Damian Priest has this one in the bag.
All right.
And so the next matchup we have for y'all, we have the War Raiders versus the New Day.
Sucks.
Terrible.
Sucks.
New Day sucks. Well, and here's the thing. This tag match should not be on the card. It should have been on Raw the night before Mania or the week before Mania.
It should be on SmackDown.
Or SmackDown. Well, no, it needs to be on Raw because that's the Raw tag belts.
True.
The tag match that should have been on the card was the Street Profits versus DIY versus Pretty Deadly versus Los Gargos. Is that how you say it? Los Gargos?
Yeah, something like that.
Something along those lines. But it should have been a fatal 4-way triple threat match for the belt, and the Street Profits could have had the WrestleMania moment with Montez Ford doing some kind of crazy moonsault or some kind of crazy frog splash and getting the crowd off their feet. Because the last time we saw a tag match on the Mania card to that level was in a ladder match at WrestleMania 33 or 34?
Yeah, no, it would have been 34.
34.
Something like,
In Orlando, Florida, it was The Bar, which was Sheamus and Cesaro versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Well, not Colin Cassidy anymore at the point. Gallows and Anderson. It started off as a triple threat, then it turned into a fatal 4-way with the return of the greatest tag team in the world, the Hardy Boys. And the Hardy Boys won to the loudest pop in WrestleMania history.
Yeah.
And I remember calling that to
this
happen.
tag match doesn't belong, the War Raiders versus New Day. The only thing I see happening is a storytelling with the New Day, with the War Raiders retaining because Big E gets involved.
Yep, I was hoping you were going to bring that up because if not, I was going to.
I think he's probably getting to a point where he could be medically cleared. And then now you're going to set up a year-long run between those three where all three split, and we're going to have a New Day triple threat at next year's WrestleMania in New Orleans.
See, and I would love that. And, and here's the point. Here's the thing. If Edge can get cleared after his neck being all messed up, Daniel Bryan can get cleared, or Bryan Danielson and Cope, I guess is their correct names now. Why can't Big E? And now maybe Big E is kind of like, okay, I'm comfortable with, being medically retired and, he's enjoying life.
Even then, I still think he gets involved.
Well, yeah.
And screws over the New Day.
Yeah, because, it started off as that, as we were building towards this big match between the three of them, and now it's kind of like it happened and nobody talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
It led to the New Day heel turn. We thought Xavier Woods and Kofi were going to split up. Then they turned heel on Big E, and now it's it's just kind of led to an underwhelming heel turn for the New Day that I feel like could have been used better once Big E is medically cleared, so that we have that match between Kofi, Xavier, and Big E, which formerly known as Big E Langston.
Yeah, I think the story's going to be a New Day situation, but the War Raiders win the title or keep the titles.
Yeah, I honestly do not see the belts changing hands in this match just for the sake of. Again, there's really not. There haven't been a huge build or a reason for Kofi and Xavier to win the belts.
No. I agree.
All right. So we're going to our next matchup. Features 619, Rey Mysterio.
Booyaka.
On El Grande Americano.
Give me El Grande Americano. Give me the real luchador from the Gulf of America, the greatest luchador known to mankind. Give me El Grande Americano, who's not Chad Gable, despite what people believe. I repeat, it is not Chad Gable.
Hold on, you got to do it again. They got to get the graphic off. Wait for it.
It is not.
Tricked you.
It is not Chad Gable, despite what people believe. El Grande Americano is going to win this match and defame that fake luchador that is known as Rey Mysterio.
I am hurt.
Oh, man.
I am so hurt that you're going against Rey Mysterio.
The Hall of Famer.
Rey Mysterio is an embarrassment to luchador wrestling. Whoa. El Grande Americano is the real luchador.
Somebody get me a table out here real quick.
Whoa. Hey.
But I do see El Grande Americano winning just to keep the story going. But there was an image that showed up on social media yesterday of there was some blood on Chad Gable's hand, a bruise, and they had the same bruise on El Grande Americano. So
it is not Chad Gable.
So it's either Chad Gable or somebody in makeup's doing a fantastic
Rey
job.
Mysterio is going to pull that mask off.
No.
Oh, no, you can't. He won't do that.
El Grande
It's
Americano is
gonna
going to
be the
win.
heel turn of the century.
No, that was John Cena.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's El Grande Americano for the win.
No, I have Mysterio.
All right.
I'll be.
Wronged.
You know what? It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. That's who I'm cheering for.
All right.
That's who I'll be watching.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah. And
It's the only
so-
prediction he's gave at this episode so far.
What?
That's the only prediction you
No,
gave for
I
the
said
matches.
Jey Uso,
Yeah, he did.
and then I brought up
He yeeted.
Logan Paul. I said, could y'all see him winning? But you know what? The next matchup, we have Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez versus
Raquel.
what?
Raquel Rodriguez.
You're good.
And then Lyra
Lyra Valkyria.
and Bailey.
Give me Lyra Valkyria and Bailey in this one.
I'm taking, for no reason, Liv Morgan and Rodriguez.
Hey, who, ha, I want to know.
It's Bailey. Ooh. Ah.
I want to know if you'll take the pinfall. Give me
because
Liv Morgan
That's the
and
only way.
Raquel
That's the only way, because
Rodriguez.
they're not going to. No,
Slap
I'm in the
Slap
minority there. I think Lyra Valkyria is a fantastic young wrestler, and I think she is due for her first WrestleMania moment and having it with Bailey.
Well, I think this match, or I don't even think the Judgment Day, I guess, is what Raquel and Liv Morgan are going
Yes, they
under
are.
it. Should even be in this match. I think it just should be Bailey versus Lycuria for the women's IC title match, and then you give Lyra
still think
you
we're
give
s-
Lyra the win, and she gets her Mania moment.
I still think we're several years away from those new women's titles being on the WrestleMania card.
You think so?
Yeah,
Interesting.
because they're new.
Yeah, I can see it.
They're used for TV
Yeah.
right now. They're not ready for the big time. They'll get there.
All right. So the moment we've all been waiting for.
Are we skipping the triple threat or the fatal four-way between Dom, Finn?
Oh, I didn't have that.
Real quick.
I think I made the graphic.
No, I didn't see it. Where
No,
I
it's
would
fine.
Put it.
We don't have to.
Y'all can
I'll do
talk
it in-
about
I'll do it in
quick.
post.
What's the?
So it's a fatal four-way for
the
the
IC title.
Intercontinental Championship between the champion Braun Breaker
I did make that graphic.
and Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio. Who's the fourth? Remind me, Tristan.
It's Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Penta, and
Penta,
Braun
the
Breaker.
new- y'all, Penta's
Y'all.
entrance is
Y'all.
going to be epic. He already has one of the best entrances right now in WWE. A WrestleMania entrance with Penta's pyro and everything. Ooh, may be the best entrance we have in WrestleMania this year.
I think we are going to see the title change
I
hands.
agree.
And as much as I want Penta to win the match,
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. I think it's going to be dirty Dominic Mysterio.
I actually agree with you to force Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day and put Finn on a solid solo run to a larger title.
Yeah, no, I agree
Which he
100%.
belongs in.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, he still hasn't gotten his get back from when he was the first Universal Champion. And
he got hurt.
Yeah, and he got hurt.
Yep.
But, I definitely think, and here's the thing, while yes, Penta will be a champion in WWE, I don't think it's at WrestleMania right now. I
No.
think Dominic Mysterio gets the moment and gets booed out of Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Because I think we're gonna have a situation where it's gonna be Finn and Dom in the ring, and the Judgment Day is gonna run down to help, and
Carlito, basically.
yeah, basically Carlito, and then they're gonna turn on Finn, and then Finn's gonna go solo for about a year, and then JD's gonna come back, and
yeah,
you're gonna have a match between JD and Finn versus Dom and whoever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, Carlito. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Carlito.
I like
Carlito.
apples, but I'm not going to like them that way.
All right.
All
So
right.
now,
Here we
all
go.
the build-up.
Here we
The
go.
moment everybody's been waiting for. The storyline has been made. The hill has been turned. Cody Rhodes
What a
versus John Cena.
setup. What a setup. Bravo.
What can I say?
You've been
You
around.
know what?
You've been
Y'all
around
deserve
Tristan
this
way too
credit,
long.
Y'all deserve this credit too. Y'all have got me into wrestling. Y'all made me
Wrestling.
wrestling. Some wrestling.
There it is. Cody
the
Rhodes,
matchup everybody's looking
John
forward to.
Cena, Sunday night. Oh,
Will the Sullivan household be going crazy once again?
no. The Sullivan household will be pretty ticked off because John Cena is going to win number 17. Yes. Setting up that faction with The Rock, with Seth Rollins, with Paul Heyman. Cody goes down. Cena gets his final WrestleMania moment, breaks Ric Flair's record of titles, championships, whatever you want to call them. And the Sullivan family will be upset.
Good. I hope I hope both of your daughters sit there and they cry and they beg for you to take back all their John Cena merch. Because let me tell you something.
John Cena merch.
Well, they're going to get something. They're going to want it taken back. Because let me tell you something, Mean Gene. When it comes down to it, at WrestleMania, inside of Las Vegas, in the biggest match of the all-time history books of WrestleMania, John Cena is going to come in. He's going to be entered to booze, and he's going to walk out with the championship. Because you know what? And I'm just going to go ahead. It's not a prediction. It's merely a spoiler. Because Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and John Cena is going to stand tall at WrestleMania, forming the new world order.
Oh,
I want to bring this up kind of just because.
got chills.
Just because of what I've seen in the past, I'm going to ask all this, and y'all could call me a dummy for this. But is there any possible way, because of the background between The Rock and John Cena, that The Rock has this as a setup, and he's actually going to be helping out Cody Rhodes? Could y'all see that, or is it too against the storyline that they have created so far? I mean,
not right now. It does not happen right now.
No.
I don't.
Because what's going to happen?
It's not a bad prediction at all.
What's going to happen, and I read somewhere, Cena will end his career as a babyface.
Yeah.
This is just a temporary turn. He's not going to end it. They can't do that to the legacy and to the brand that John Cena is. This is just one moment that sets up a massive build for WrestleMania. Because I think what ends up happening is that Cena will turn on The Rock before he ends his career, go back to babyface, end his legacy as one of the greatest good guys of all time.
I just remembered something.
Yep.
There needs to be a rubber match between Rock and Cena.
It's 1-1.
WrestleMania 28, Rock won in Miami, and then WrestleMania 29.
But it's not going to be WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying that at back-to-back WrestleManias, they're 1-1.
Yep.
And there needs to be the rubber match.
So you'd look at SummerSlam.
Rock versus Cena and I don't even know if you'd do it for the belt. Well, surely you would, because you'd want Cena to hold it.
The top spot in the company, per se.
So do we have any surprise entrances? I mean, last year we had The Undertaker that no one saw coming.
Which should have been Stone Cold's position.
Yeah.
But it was still a cool moment having Taker come out.
I think if I'm not.
You'll see Rock.
Yeah, you'll
obviously.
see Rock. But I almost want to say maybe you see Stone Cold here. Because Steve has already teased it, saying that he owes Cody a favor, which, by the way, owing favors is like the huge thing this year.
But if you bring out Stone Cold Steve Austin, then you can't have John Cena win.
I don't know.
Because
Unless it's
Stone
just
Cold
unless
is
it's
against The
unless
Rock.
it's just Stone Cold taking out The Rock, and then leaves the one-on-one at the end of the match between Cena.
Oh, okay, so this goes back to what you said earlier about building to night 2.
Mm-hmm.
If the Seth turn happens, Stone Cold comes out, take out The Rock. Seth comes out, officially aligns himself with the new NWO. I'm calling it the new NWO, but they officially aligns himself with the new NWO by stomping Cody, thus turning on him from last year when he gave his all during the torn meniscus and everything.
Basically, everybody turns on Cody.
Everybody turns on Cody. Then you set it up, the build of the all builds, where Cena has the belt. He retires as champion. He leaves the belt in the middle of the ring, ushers in Cody versus everybody, and then we get the super Cody
If you do that with Seth Rollins, and you're going to build up to Rollins versus Cody next WrestleMania.
Surely.
And that's where Cody
gets the belt
recaptures
back.
the story.
Yeah, sure, it gets the belt back, but I think If they do it that way, you leave the opportunity open for Seth to interfere, thus creating the new world order or whatever they're going to call it, and you set up your next year of the faction being the big thing, and you go on this long storyline built out. Because let's remember here, Cena said once he's done in December, he's never wearing the jorts again.
Yeah.
But he didn't say he was going to leave WWE. So we may see something where Cena retires the jorts, but stays on screen as a character in a suit and tie.
Oh, that would be weird.
And I know, but I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there, and you see, Rock, Cena, Seth, and Paul Heyman or Jey Uso if he joins or whoever.
Yeah.
That way,
Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
and that way you have, and I'll just say this: nobody in that faction needs Paul Heyman as a mouthpiece. He's there simply because he's Paul E. Dangerous.
Yeah.
But
He'd still be one heck of a mouthpiece, though.
oh yeah.
To build up the other characters.
Oh yeah,
That's what he's there for.
And honestly, you almost want to put a young guy with him too. That way, Paul can build them up. I don't know who that would be.
It's got to be somebody from NXT. Trick Williams.
Yeah, I
was thinking that
dig
same
it.
thing.
I dig it.
Trick will make his return to one of the main brands as part of that.
And as much as I want it to be Carmelo Hayes, Carmelo Hayes is kind of at the point where it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because I love Carmelo Hayes in
Yeah.
the ring. But I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and just draw this out because I'm ready to talk
I'm just
about
gonna
other
put this
stuff.
out here. Brock Lesnar's making an appearance on Sunday night.
No, he's not.
That would be interesting.
That would. Him and Cena have always gone at it.
I mean, yeah, but no.
Say it
Might have
again.
been
I
Cena's
say it
kryptonite.
again. Cena gets screwed out of winning the title and Cody retains if Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar both show up to take out Cena and The Rock. It'd be the only
Glass
thing.
shattered and then whatever.
That's the only way I see it.
Yeah, and
Just don't let him come out in a tractor.
seriously, or if CM Punk gets inserted into the match, which it's a whole different
Do we
avenue.
still see that as happening? Turning the match into a triple threat?
I would not be mad at it. To see CM Punk
because
get his
Cena
big mania
took out.
moment.
He pinned Punk.
No, he didn't. He made him.
No.
No, CM Punk never tapped out.
That's true.
He passed out because Seth gave him the curb stomp.
That's right.
And then Cena, which I don't know how nobody anticipated the heel
So
turn,
then that's where CM Punk wins Saturday.
gets implemented, wins Sunday.
Gets Payman, pays off the favor. Triple H comes out and says, "You've been inserted in the championship match on Sunday."
Then you set up the Cena versus Punk feud for SummerSlam,
Yeah.
where Cena gets the belt.
Then you're overshadowing Cody, which is tough.
At the
But
point,
he had his moment last year.
he had his moment. Honestly, he had two moments.
Yeah.
And now you move forward towards Punk and Cena one last time. Cena wins the belt.
You give Cody a year to build up a whole new story.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right.
I like it.
You see how beautiful wrestling is.
Yeah,
Such great storytelling.
it is. And so before we go, Mr. Sullivan, you have a new podcast I want you to plug in real quick.
Talking and Teaching Sports Media, the new podcast that
We'll put that graphic in post.
Talking.
that I've started. I've been in this industry in sports media for a long time. I've been now teaching. This is finishing up my 4th year here on faculty at A-State. I felt the need to start sharing more of my experiences and the experiences that I have with students, other faculty, not only here, but across the country in the organizations that I'm a part of, and just talking sports media and how I teach it. The best way to bring people up. I'll have people from throughout the industry that I have connections with to be on it, but the first episode had to be with Tristan and Cooper and Tristan. We're still tied. Had to be with these two fine gentlemen over here. The first episode's called The First 4 Years. And it's been 4 years with these guys. And no spoilers here, but you got to go and listen.
Yep.
Listen to it to hear the stories, hear everything that you guys have learned from me and from others here in the school, and look forward to having. I've had some really good positive reviews from some people out there that have had a chance to listen, and I look forward to many more episodes down the road of talking and teaching sports media.
All right.
All right.
We're going to go back to camera 4 because Mr. Sullivan, you just earned yourself the honor to send us to break.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are we going to break or are we ending the show?
We're going to break. We still have one more segment to talk
All right.
about. We're going to talk about.
So
the
after we
transfer
come
portal.
back from break, Cooper and Tristan and Cooper are going to be right back at the Red Wolf Roundtable desk talking A-State baseball and how dominant they've been as of late with some big wins, and talking some other sports, spring football coming up. So right after the break, these guys will be right back. You're watching Red Wolf Roundtable on ASU-TV.
Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. I want to thank Mr. Dustin Sullivan for taking the time to talk about Wrestlemania with us on ASU-TV and Red Wolf Roundtable. Kind of a yearly tradition for the two of us during our 4 times here at Arkansas State University. Started with Louie. Louie, love you. Hope you're doing well. But now it's time to move towards more sporting news in the world of A-State athletics and just kind of sports in general. But the transfer portal is kind of a big thing, and before we get to that, I do want to say shout out to the baseball team for winning their series against South Al and beating Southern Illinois on the road in Carbondale, Illinois. But back to the transfer portal because it's kind of the big thing.
Transferring over, some might say.
Transferring. Yeah, great job, pal.
Thank you.
He's on one. But, so moving forward towards the transfer portal, I just want to start by asking you this. What do you think of the portal?
I mean, it's a mess. It's absolutely terrible, in my opinion, the way it's set up right now. I mean, if you're not even looking at Arkansas State, if you're looking all over the country, I mean, it's getting out of hand. I mean, for example, if we want to bring up, I mean, this kind of has relations to Arkansas State, Tennessee, but Jones was once there, so there we go. But the quarterback at Tennessee, he decided, I just think I deserve to be paid more than $3 million a year, which I would love to get paid $3 million. I mean, heck, $3 million, I'll take it. Don't worry, I'll take it. I'll be a third-string quarterback, first-string bench warmer. But he's like, I deserve more money. I want this, this, and that. And then he goes, okay, here's what the pros do when they're trying to renegotiate contracts. They're going to sit out on a practice, sit out on a meeting, miss it. Well, guess what, buddy? You're in college. You're not in the pros. He did that, and you know what Tennessee said? They said, bye-bye. I don't like Tennessee, but that made me proud of them for doing that. But besides getting back to Arkansas State, I mean, it's an absolute mess. I mean, you have USF, who's basically South Florida Red Wolves right now. I mean, our coaching staff and everybody in athletics is the Arkansas Scarlet Tide, basically. Yeah. I mean, it's out of hand, and there's a lot of things that need to be done to kind of settle it down, because when you have a coach leave, especially with a Sunbelt school, the whole team goes and they just transfer everywhere. I mean, we saw it when Marshall, they won the Sunbelt, their coach takes a new job, and they can't even play in their bowl game.
Right. And, just looking at A-State for just a moment, I mean, McKeelan Thomas just entered the transfer portal. Tim Hardeman's committed to Tulsa, waiting on official wording from that from his accounts. I did talk to him, and he said we could say that, so, I guess we could say that. They're in the portal. Miller Crumby went to South Al. We've had Websley Etienne go to FIU, I do believe.
Yeah, one of those Florida schools.
Well, yeah, one of the Florida schools.
He's from Florida, so it makes sense.
And, the Florida schools, and then basketball. You got Cody Head in the portal. You got Josh Hill in the portal. De'Aaron Ford's in the portal. T-Baby's in the portal. He's taking visits as well as De'Aaron Ford. But and someone I want to focus on is De'Aaron Ford, is because the transfer portal at Arkansas State, you're not going to get a lot of news. You're not going to know who they're going after. You're not going to know who's coming when. and what they're coming for. But I do know, and I can't elaborate this because I heard from a trusted source, is that Darian Ford's taken some visits. Arkansas State, a lot of people want him to come back. I would love to see him come back in the scarlet and black. But he's trying to see where the best fit is, as well as where, playing wise and community wise, because he loves the relationship aspect. And, of course, everybody that's on Twitter within the Arkansas State community, they've seen the amount of love and support De'Aaron Ford got. I mean, heck, even at Coach Panone's introductory press conference, everybody stood up and clapped for him, for De'Aaron Ford. So, I don't know. I definitely think that De'Aaron Ford needs to come back to Arkansas State. Of course, no matter where he goes, I'll always support him.
Yeah.
We'll always root for him, no matter where he goes, even if it's another Sun Belt school. But I just think for the way he's playing and the way he has played, because he was underutilized last year, that he needs to come back to Jonesboro and come back to Arkansas State.
Well, something that I feel like not too many people realized and that we really haven't mentioned is last year, Ford got kind of stuck with the injury bug. He missed a couple games here and there at the beginning of the season, and then later on in the season he missed a couple more games. But when we saw Ford healthy, De'Aaron Ford healthy, he was getting up to 17, 20 points per game. I mean, he was a very reliable source. And he would be a key piece to this team in Jonesboro because he spent these last 2 seasons here. And so to get a guy to come back for his 3rd season, you rarely see that. That's almost to Caleb Fields' level of loyalty because he went to Fayetteville. He didn't get a shot there. He came over here with Hodson, did really good, kind of had the injury bug last year, but when we saw Ford healthy, he was able to knock down those shots. He was one of those guys who was the only consistent guy on the team when healthy. So I feel like if you've seen him on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, he's posting him working out. He's posting him in the gym, getting up shots. He wants to be here at Arkansas State, I hope, and that's what we're hoping. But I feel like if he does come back, he will be way more utilized in the offense, playing time, and kind of the role we saw with him at his first year at Arkansas State.
Right, and again, time will tell where they're going to go. But, of course, just speaking of athletics here at Arkansas State, I do want to just take a moment to shout out the soccer team. They are playing their expedition game there in the spring inside of Centennial Bank Stadium against Harding on Wednesday. So, make sure you guys go out and support them if, you're not watching this when it's already passed. But I just think from the landscape of the transfer portal, you've got all these names in the hat and who's going to go what. I mean, we've seen different talents at different institutions go somewhere. Javante Mackey just announced that he's coming back to Arkansas State. So I don't know. I think, and this goes beyond the NIL discussion because, NIL, it's a topic for another day. And it's just too broad of a scheme and too broad of a conversation to have with just Cooper and I. I would love to have maybe an athlete on or former athlete just to hear their side of the point because, we only know so much because we're not student athletes. But what I will say is this. When it comes to the transfer portal, I would hope these athletes are considering 3 things, okay? Education being number 1, roster spot, fit being number 2, and the community being number 3. And why I say community is it's because, you can go play a SEC level ball or you can go play in, the SEC football or whatever, but are you going to mean something to those fans? Or are you going to go to Walmart and someone say, hey, saw you play for whatever school, great job last night, and, I can't speak of it from a student-athlete standpoint, but I know, just doing the show, being a face on ESPN Plus and doing stuff with ASU-TV, people recognize me and say, hey, we saw you on Red Wolf Roundtable or hey, on ASU-TV, you guys do a great job. And, it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like, what I do is good work and good dedication. But I just hope that these transfers are looking at the city of Jonesboro and taking the A-State thing out of the equation and just looking at what the community means to A-State basketball, A-State football.
Yeah, and the community of Jonesboro and just Northeast Arkansas, it's a tight community. Northeast Arkansas, it's a bunch of farmland and everything. Like, it's a bunch of flat land, and it almost kind of separates. I feel like Northeast Arkansas is almost its own little State because it's separated from Central Arkansas where you have Little Rock and Cabot, Benton, Bryant. You have all that. And then you have Northwest with Rogers, Fayetteville, and Bentonville. And, you know, it's kind of like it comes to Northeast Arkansas, you have all these small towns, and then you have Jonesboro. And Jonesboro is where, you know, everybody, if you're going to do something, okay, we're going to go drive up to Jonesboro today and do this, this, and that. And you have Arkansas State there. You have kids going to Arkansas State because they went there. So it's a tight community that you get to experience being here for 4 years. And I feel like if athletes would just push the NIL aside and look at that, Arkansas State has a very tight community. But since we're bringing up the transfer portal and a tight community, I have to bring up a team that we haven't really heard in the transfer portal for players leaving is the Arkansas State women's basketball team. Coach Rogers has done a great job with that team, keeping players there, as well as adding new additions.
Right, they just got a transfer from, I do believe, Utah State. That sounds correct. And here's the thing, okay, and I'll just say this. Coach Rogers is not on social media a lot, especially during the season. But you know something's going on when you see Coach Dez on Instagram saying, boom, or on Twitter.
We were at Central Barbecue when we saw that.
Yeah, and, you know, speaking of Central Barbecue, I do just want to take a moment to shout out the Memphis Showboats and all of them, and Jonathan Adams for having us over there to cover that team. You know, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Myself, Cooper, and Caton Marsh went. Actually introduced Caton to the world of Central Barbecue, and he's still talking about it to this day. So it was so good. It was great. Hopefully we can go back to another home game because it was a lot of fun. But back to our talk about the transfer portal. You don't talk about dynasties and you don't and fail to mention people leaving and people going to different stuff. You don't do that when you talk about dynasties. And what I feel like Arkansas State women's basketball is doing right now is building a dynasty. And it's hard to say there will be a dynasty because you don't know what's going to happen from now to the start of the season next year. You don't know who's going to stay, who's going to leave for academic reasons, or who's going to leave for personal reasons. But I will say this. For a team to be picked 14th last year and win the Sun Belt Conference tournament, go to the NCAA tournament, I can strongly say and can strongly have an opinion that Coach Dez, Coach Ness, Coach Evans, Coach Crowder, and all those people over there are building a dynasty in the Sun Belt. Now, they may not win the national championship. I would love for them to win the national championship, and they may not make it out of the first round. But what they are doing in the Sun Belt is something that in the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of people are going to turn back and look and say, how in the world did Arkansas State do that? And the impact in the transfer portal and the NIL world. Because remember, last year, they did it with 0 NIL funding. They did it with just 2 transfer. Did Chrislyn transfer here? I don't think she did. I know Anna did and I know Winter did. But I can't remember if Chrislyn did or not.
Yeah.
But to do it with 2 players who transferred, one from Virginia, one from West Virginia, and Chrislyn Rose, to now you're gaining all these people that you gained in the summer before this past season with all these JUCO transfers, smaller college transfers, and now you're doing this, and it's like, okay, did they just find a loophole? Because honestly, I think they did.
Yeah, I mean, people need to utilize the JUCO route a lot more because you see it used a lot in college baseball. Baseball, you have players, you know, maybe they're just underdeveloped. They haven't hit their full growth spurt. They need a couple years to really mature, get some muscle on them, things like that. College baseball uses the JUCO route so well. I mean, they use it perfectly. But when it comes to college basketball, college football, and the other sports, no one really uses the JUCO. They'll kind of use the JUCO route as a bigger school. Oh, I got this star athlete from the Sun Belt, blah, blah, blah. But the JUCO route's the way to go because you have so much talent because people who are going to JUCO are either one, they need time to mature, get some more muscle on them, and get better, or 2, they just weren't looked at. There's so many high school athletes, and the way the NIL is now, maybe the JUCO is the only route they could take for their first 2 years. And so with Coach Rogers doing that, using the JUCO route, I mean, it's the loophole because you're going to get players at the JUCO route. They're there because they want to play the sport. They love the game. And for them to get an offer to play at a D1 school, heck yeah, they're going to take it. They don't care about if they're getting paid $100,000, $1 million, or $100. They're there for the love of the game. And that's what we saw with the Arkansas State women's basketball team. They were out there because they loved the game. They were a tight team. They loved their coaches. They loved their just good chemistry, and they proved it. It's obvious, but, you know, that's why Coach Rogers, she just said, let me get a chance. And you know what? She took the money and ran with it.
Yeah, and look, in 5 years, the topic of the transfer portal may be a whole different conversation than what we're having now. NIL in 5 years may be a whole different conversation than what we briefly had now. And, you know, hopefully future editions of Red Wolf Roundtable, future hosts of Red Wolf Roundtable can have these discussions and, you know, accurately and descriptively tell everybody what the transfer portal means. But because it is so new, there's just only so much Cooper and I could say, because you could go look at funding all you want for universities and how much they spend here and how much they spend there and what all these numbers collaborate to be, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. But what matters the most, and this just may be a me thing, and Cooper can feel differently, but what matters most is what's being told to these recruits in these meetings, in these visits, when they're transferring. Because you got to remember, most of these student athletes are 17, 18, 19 years old. They're still technically teenagers. Most of them may be coming from nothing. They've never experienced a huge opportunity like this, so they're just trying to better get their name out there more so that they can go to the NFL draft, NBA draft, WNBA draft, MLB draft, so on and so forth. But what are the coaches telling them? What are the recruiters telling them? Because, you know, if you're recruiting for women's basketball, you're saying, hey, we just won the Sun Belt Conference Championship. But if you're football, what are you telling them? Yeah. Are you saying, hey, we won the Sun Belt Conference in the yesteryear and we won bowl games last year and the year before and, you know, barely had a winning record, but if you come here, you could be the dynamical impact, and then these players transfer and they never see the field. Yeah. And baseball is the same way. Hey, we haven't won anything since the 1800s, but you come, you come and you join the A-State baseball team. We may have a brand new turf, but you stay here 2 years and you'll have a brand new stadium downtown Jonesboro. I mean, what are these players getting told, and what are these athletes getting told? Because I mean, the only two programs right now that could really say they have won a championship in the last couple years is track and field with Dr. Patchell and women's basketball with Coach Rogers.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I could break it down. Football, their biggest thing is their facility. It's a state-of-the-art facility, the best mid-major facility, and up there with some of the power conferences. So what I heard, GFED. Athletics didn't really like him that much, but don't leave the gates wide open to your football stadium if you don't want that to happen. But besides that, you know, football, they're using their facility. Basketball, they're like, look at this, men's basketball at least is like, look at the turning point, look at the crowds. We're on ESPN. If you come here, you'll get your name out there. You'll be playing on primetime ESPN, ESPNU. The women's basketball team, I mean, I don't know what Coach Rogers is doing, but whatever she's doing, it works because, you know, I feel like Coach Rogers is like the most honest coach at Arkansas State. Yeah. She keeps it straight with you, and she tells you what she's going to do, and she goes out in there and does it. So, I mean, Coach Rogers, just a heck of a recruiter. And then I feel like with baseball, it's been, oh, we're getting new turf, we're getting this, and that. Never happened. Rafa's gone. They bring in Coach Silva. They have the turf, and now I feel like baseball's whole recruiting strategy is we haven't been anything, as Tristan said, since the 1800s. So why don't you want to be a part of the change? I feel like the biggest thing Arkansas State's been saying is, why not be a part of the change? That's my guess. Yeah, and everybody says one pack and whatever, but and you know, I'm not going to sit here and grill anybody or grill any sort of marketing strategy, but you know, for somebody saying one pack, it feels like a certain school
on this campus never gets the recognition they deserve, and certain faculty never get their flowers and stuff like that. But hey, that's a story for another day.
Amen.
I don't know. I just feel like I would love, and this is just me having insane ideas, but I would love to go through whatever recruit goes through when they visit Arkansas State with Coach Rogers.
Yeah.
And honestly, I may just shoot her a text or shoot Davey a text and say, hey, you know, here's an idea for video. What do you think? And maybe it's approved, maybe not.
Yeah.
Who knows? You can only ask in life.
Yeah.
But I do want to say also, if you see Cooper and I and we look like lobsters or we look extra red, it's not your TV sets or your phones or the cameras. We just forgot to wear sunscreen in Memphis and the sun, and we got fried. But and look, and here's the thing, and this is what I'll say in close, is that while the transfer portal is very new and it's very not scary but very intimidating to some coaches, I feel like Arkansas State can be the stepping stone to a lot of these D1 athletes to go to the next level and go pro. And honestly, that's what Arkansas State is going to become. Like in Arkansas State, not just Arkansas State, but other institutions, because you're not going to get the 5 stars and the 4 stars. I mean, may get some, but most of them are going to transfer out. And instead of worrying about people transferring out, you need to be worrying about getting these 5 stars that went to SEC school, Big 12 school, ACC school that didn't make it and weren't ready for that level yet. Get them to come to your institution for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, hone their skills, and then they leave again. Because, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to draw a comparison, but right now the Sun Belt is the SEC's farming system. I mean, maybe not be at the same level as the MLB with AAA, AA, and Single A, but right now it's the best way I could put it, is that the Sun Belt is the SEC's farming system, and, you know, they may be the Big 12's farming system, and they may be the ACC's farming system, but right now the way it looks is that if you want to put it on a map, I couldn't say the word, so I'm not going to try, but if you put it on a map right now, the logical sense of that would be is that the SBC is the SEC's farming system.
Well, I got nothing else to say for this episode. I'm sick as a dog.
Give me your opinion. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Cooper's sick as a dog. A lot of things are going on here at Roundtable. We're gearing up towards graduation, and we're getting the last couple episodes together and playing for you guys and getting ready for the new host to take over. So stay tuned for that. And for Red Wolf Roundtable and Tristan Harlan, that's Cooper Milder, my brother from another mother, the Juice Box, my partner in crime. He's throwing up the Wolves up. I'm going to say goodbye. Ooh. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to all our crew, Jacob Cater, Benjamin McDowell, Kate and Marsh, and all the EXP students that have helped us. Timmy Arquette and Aiden Barber are great engineers, and everybody in the CMP program at the Herald, everybody in the School of Media Journalism deserves a shout out because they all do great work. But Red Wolf Roundtable, Tristan Harlan, Cooper Melder saying goodbye, and we'll see you next time.